Back to that. Clearly, it's in all our interest that NAMA is successful and ultimately makes a profit for the people of the state. When I was finance spokesman in the Senate for Fianna Fáil at the time, I think we spent some 70 hours going through this legislation, and all of us expressed a heartfelt wish that it would do and undertake its work in a way that would be in the best interest of the people. I remember saying quite clearly in the closing address to do with the legislation that it wouldn't surprise me if there was a NAMA number 2 bill or number 3 bill, as when things would evolve, we might realise that certain things needed to be done differently. And certainly from a personal perspective, looking back, I think it would have been wise if we had some sort of statutory Oireachtas oversight of the work of NAMA. And while inevitably that there is commercially sensitive information, I think we saw with the recent banking inquiry, where legislation was passed to give us members of the banking inquiry access, and the Minister will know this as a member himself, to sensitive materials from the Central Bank that are protected under Article 33AK of the Central Bank Act, if I remember correctly. We were able to see that, do our work, undertake it, and we're obviously bound to keep that information secret in the interest of the state. I think something similar could have been done, and with the benefit of a hindsight, I think it would have served us better, with the best interests of the good efforts of the people working and running NAMA, and I think that they are entitled in their work to be exonerated if in the fullness of time it emerges there has been no wrongdoing, because we all want to see the best outcome possible. That's just one point. Over the last period of time, the Minister Noonan will know that I tabled 26 parliamentary questions, very specifically to do with the leaks in relation to the NAMA portfolio, where it's assumed through media and other circles that following the recent conviction that some leaks had taken place. My information, and I put it on the record of the House and indeed PQs, is that the entire loan book and all information to do with the values and connections of those loans was leaked and available to the international market investors who may be interested in bidding, and indeed some nationally here. Now, that ultimately could have served to undermine the kind of return or potential to maximise the return for the people in NAMA. As somebody who's involved in auctioneering myself historically, I can tell you, if I know what your value is and what your expected return and what's going to get you out is €100, then I'm not going to bid any much more than €100 and 50 pence. So I have concerns about the implications of that. In the 26 questions I tabled, the elephant in the room was ignored. The Minister, or indeed information that was probably coming back through NAMA, did not say, actually, no, only part was leaked, only some was leaked. My information is all was leaked, and I think that on the Public Accounts Committee, we certainly, I hope, will be pursuing that issue. There are further revelations, I understand, coming down the track with regard to these issues, and I think we're going to have to look at them quite closely. Obviously, Project Eagle, and indeed other deals that anecdotally we're all picking up, maybe on a much smaller level throughout the country. There are questions arising, and I think that the public are entitled to know that they have had the maximum possible return for the 8 years of painful sacrifice that they have put in. I also have to say that there are quite a few, loose maybe, but nevertheless, allegations flying around about political interventions at the highest level in favour of borrower connections in NAMA, or some or part of those connections, perhaps to the detriment of others. Perhaps none of this is true, but the fact that allegations are being made is something of great concern. We know that in law, in the NAMA Acts, it is a criminal offence for any politician to use their influence in any way to benefit a connection in NAMA, a borrower in NAMA. On another issue that isn't directly related to NAMA, but something that I think that the PSC or these houses need to look at. Anybody who read the accounts of Mars Capital recently will see that they paid 42% of the loan value to IBRC for what was the old Irish Nationwide book. I mean, at some stage, we need to focus the people completely in our work in these houses. I mean, if those people in that loan book, it was sold for 154 million, which was 42% of the value, if we went to those individuals, would they have family members or credit unions or others who, if they could purchase at not even 42, even 60% of the loan value, could they have got out alive? And I think we didn't serve the people well if that's the case. Again, more work that we might look at in the PAC. Very finally, and just to conclude on our own amendment, I agree. At the outset, there is no question we don't want to undermine a criminal investigation. People are entitled to their pound of flesh, particularly if they've been undermined in this way. So let's see what the CNAG has to say in his report. Let's see what the PAC come up with in going through that report when the time comes. And while I would agree that we'd like, in the ideal circumstances, to have the criminal investigation completed first, it is possible that this could take 3 years. And I think in the interest of the public, it's something that we should keep under review. Perhaps after the CNAG report has been gone through, maybe we should have another look at it. So again, not to be disagreeing with the good efforts of Deputy Daly, but I do feel let's give it a little time, let's look at the CNAG report, and perhaps we could have another look at it.
Thank you, Deputy.